Hello everyone. This is a very special live. It is about the Capricorn full moon vibes that we're moving into now as we've gotten past, the glare is going to distract me, as we've gotten past this first quarter moon and we're moving closer to the full moon in Capricorn. If you do have access to your birth chart, you might want to pull that up while you're watching this. And if you don't, that's okay. You can always listen back later or another time. If you are on the live and you plan to be here till the end, it's just for people that are live. I'm happy to pull a card for you for this full moon. I am also offering full moon tarot spread readings, anywhere from 5 to 7 cards, and it is a recorded reading that I send to you. They are $77 and they are very powerful for this full moon in particular. I feel really called to offer them because this is a catalyst point. This is a massive awakening point. Things are coming to our consciousness. This is the midway point of the year, and it's a great time to get a reading with me because it helps you to identify where you're being called into more fruition, where you're being called into more action. Today we had our Activate Shakti call, which we have once a month, and this focus was looking back at the intentions that you set at the new year and where are you with that, and where do you want to be with that? Maybe you've changed course. Maybe you're redirecting. If you did a vision board or if you did any journaling at the beginning of the year, it's a great time to look back at those things. If you don't already have a planetary planner, they're on super sale on my website, and they are great for tracking the new and full moon and different aspects and journaling, about your year. So those are on sale on my website, and I'm really excited to start working now on the 2023 planetary planner, which is crazy to me. So that all being said, I want to go over some of these transits with this full moon, and I do want to say that this month in general in the astrology is a really big month. Actually, on the last day of the month, we have the biggest transit of the month, and it is building to until then. And so July 31st, we have the conjunction between the North Node and Uranus. This is a collective energy. It's not personal, although it might feel personal if you have personal planets or placements there. And I will do a whole other video on that. If you aren't already following me on YouTube, that is the way to get the best updates and continue to see my videos if you enjoy them and you really want to be a part of them and comment and things like that. So follow me on YouTube if you aren't already. And that's Sparkle and Shine Guidance, just like on my profile here. So I'm going to talk specifically about this full moon, and if you'd like a card at the end, you can just type your first name in the chat, and then I'll come back around to that. So this full moon happens on July 13th. It's at 21 degrees of Capricorn. First thing to know about anytime we're having a full moon in a cardinal sign is that it's a hallmark part of the year. So we have the new year starts with Capricorn season, and then the mid-year is Cancer season. And so it's right after solstice. It's the first full moon after solstice. And it is this illumination for your direction and redirecting your year. This really highlights our inner parent, our inner parenting, our inner mother and our inner father. Capricorn's very much the masculine drive, ambition, go after your goals, hustle culture type thing, okay? And Cancer is the emotional resources that we have, our nurturing of ourselves, our trust of ourselves, how we are being, how we are living, how much we're trusting our intuition, how much we're leaning into the things that light us up and bring us joy and harmony and sustenance versus how much we're not trusting ourselves. And a lot of this Cancer Capricorn polarity has to do with attachment. Do we have a secure attachment to our trust of self? Are we still on autopilot with internalizing the voices of those that didn't really nurture us as a child, and now we've internalized that voice to be hard on ourselves, to bully ourselves, so out of protection? And this is an opportunity and a time period for us to really kind of crack that open and get into our feels more. Cancer is a very emotionally intelligent sign and really helps us to get into our feels. And Capricorn is kind of the opposite, where it's shutting down the emotions so that we can take action and just move forward. And we need both. When we have a full moon, what's illuminated, the light of the sun in Cancer is shining on that Capricorn moon. So our internal drive and our internal desire for meeting our goals for the year is a really key time to look at any kind of sabotage or things that have held you back this year. So at this time, it's great to journal on those things. What's coming into consciousness? What are you releasing? What didn't work? Where are you reanalyzing and re-navigating your life? And what is your intuition telling you about how to meet your own needs and move forward in your life? So really looking at those themes. This full moon in particular has some really interesting and tough transits attached to it. The main one being that it's squaring, not exact, it's a wide orb square to Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries. And so these are very cardinal, like letting go of some very fundamental and core ways of identifying with yourself and being able to hop on a new train of thought, hop on a new way of being, and start to trust yourself in a new way and identifying with yourself in a new way. And one of the things about the sign of Cancer when we're in Cancer season, or if you have Cancer placements, is that half of the month, because it's ruled by the moon, half of the month is spent in darkness. And there is something about that kind of gloomy, dark, creative energy where you might be being redirected in your life or have to leave certain things behind, and you might not know where you're going. You might not have clear direction. You might kind of be in the dark. And that's okay. You just need to know what your next right step is. And this full moon is really asking you to tune into your trust of self and know that you'll know what action to take at the right time. And you'll know what decision to make at the right time. The only thing you need to do is the next right thing for you. And sometimes it's so basic in that the next right thing for you is getting to a yoga class. The next right thing for you is getting out in nature. The next right thing for you is drinking a glass of water. It's the most basic things that seem so simple that we tend to hold ourselves away from. We tend to restrict ourselves from. And ultimately, that's where we kind of get in this cycle, right? Overdoing that over time, we start to disconnect from our body and what our body really needs. And Cancer really represents the body too. And the nurturing or the lack of nurturing we received physically as a young little being, right? And how can we receive and open to receiving our own love from ourselves? So this full moon has that T-square to Chiron. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be impactful. It's going to maybe trigger some core wounding, some core things, not only for ourselves, but in the collective. The degradation of the family system, the degradation of the father and the mother and the family, and where we lost that and how we can try to start to get back to that, get back to those healthy aspects of the feminine and the masculine. This full moon is also conjunct Mercury, and that is with the sun conjunct Mercury. And that's always a powerful time to process, to digest, to get into a place where you're starting to understand some of your own inner workings and some of your own maybe wounding around, especially because the sun is conjunct Ceres, and Ceres has to do with abundance and loss. So this is a time to revisit grief and ask yourself, what unprocessed grief are you still carrying in your body? And if there's something, this is a great time to work with me. I'm very much a Cancerian Leo energy, and so working with me during the summer is a really powerful thing. And I have some very special offers that I don't announce here but are on my mailing list. So if you're not already on my mailing list, it's a good time to get on there. But you can also just reach out to me and ask me about those specials. Ways that you can work with me this summer. The most powerful if you do have your own business or you'd like to really be focused on your business during this time, is doing the group mastermind with me that starts August 26th. It's a 4-month commitment. It's a 4-month payment plan, and it offers you this opportunity to really step into your feminine power in your business and hone that power for your success and have that support week after week for 4 months to really get the most out of 2022. So if you feel called into divine action right now in your business, that is the place to be. If you're in a place where you really recognize some inner work and some core basic needs that you have, one-on-one coaching with me is a great place to be, and I can send you more information on that. So just let me know. So we have that series, Mercury Sun conjunction in Cancer. Very powerful, very emotionally charged. And when we have Mercury in Cancer, we're processing not through the brain. We're processing through our heart. We're processing through our body. We're processing through our breath. And we are processing things that we can't even see, that we can't even necessarily feel, but that are there. So this extrasensory energy is very much Mercury in Cancer. So the Sun conjunct that with the full moon means that our emotions and our intuition and the extrasensory capabilities are increasing, and we might be noticing more. Ceres there as well highlights the inner mother and any core mother issues that might be coming up for you, and the unmet needs that you had, or any grief that needs to be processed and cleared out. So these are things that are happening at the full moon. We also have Pluto at the end of Capricorn. It's not a tight conjunction, but it is conjunct the moon, and that means that it's stirring the pot of the big picture, not just personally. This is collective. It's very active out there, and there are things that will be uncovered and illuminated at this full moon that you can choose to look at, or like many people, you can choose to that's too much for me. I don't know what to believe anymore. And that's okay. Wherever you fall on that spectrum is okay. Just know things will be illuminated with this full moon, and likely for the rest of the month, that are going to be uncomfortable, that are going to be hard to look at. And there are already some things happening. If you look at the world news, there are already some things happening. There's going to be more, and there's going to be, to a degree, that it's going to trigger people and it's going to make people uncomfortable. And so the best thing that you can do is to calm your nervous system at this time, attune yourself to nature, to knowing that even as I'm out here right now, I can feel there's so much changing underfoot. The earth is changing. The earth is renewing. There's way more butterflies this year than I've ever seen at this time of year. There's so many things shifting and changing, and trusting the process is where it's at to birth the new reality that we want to see, and trusting that we know the next right step for ourselves in our own life. And sometimes we can't be in a place where we can pay attention to what's happening in the larger scale, what's happening in the external world. And the more that we're changing and working on the inner world, we're affecting change in the outer world. So that's all okay and acceptable, and do what feels good to you. This full moon is powerful. It's likely that it's going to ask of you things that don't feel comfortable, and it is more than okay to seek out support at this time. I will have those tarot readings available. They are $77 each, and it is a recording reading that I send to you. So if you're interested in one of those, I do have a few spots available for that. And then, like I said, I am offering one-on-one work. I'm available to do one-on-one coaching at this time, or just a one-time 2-hour deep dive coaching session with you. The other thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned, let's see, Venus is trining Saturn. We are in this bigger cycle with Saturn in Aquarius, which is restricting our sense of moving forward. It's restricting our sense of community and feeling like we have community. And it's really important for each and every one of us to go against what feels right at the time. for example, last night we had a women's circle, and every time we have a women's circle, I will be like, oh, I just really want to stay home. And this is about sharing in the energy. Going, every time I go, I'm like, oh, right, this is why I have to push through that. But it takes work to continue having community, especially for what we've been through in the last few years. It's going to take work to rebuild the community, and that requires each and every one of us. So share in the energy, share in the beauty of what's to come from gathering. And it's really important to really be in this energy of openness. There's so much stinginess right now, or like, if you don't do this, you can't come to this, or you can't do this. And that's really not a continual energy that we want to be a part of. So if there's situations where there's some type of discrimination happening, or some type of a belittling of people happening, do you really want to take part in that thing? Like, it's a great time to ask yourself, like, are you in a spirit of sharing, or are you in a spirit of kind of a little bit of stinginess, or a little bit of lack mentality? So just asking yourself that is a great place to be. Okay, and then one more card for the full moon. I would feel like I wanted to call from the set. Ooh, calling in the violet flame to transmute and burn away and clear any stagnant energies, any of the energies like I just talked about of like stinginess or lack energy. Really calling in the violet flame for this renewal and this upliftment of all people, having compassion, even if people are being stingy, even if people are being belittling to you. It's like, can you have compassion? Can you call in the violet flame and have compassion for them, and trust their process, and trust their journey, and trust your own journey? So utilizing that violet flame is going to be powerful. I actually have a whole other YouTube on it, so I'll tag that here. So you can check out that violet flame video, see if it resonates with you. Take good care of your nervous system for the next week. Take good care of your physical body for the next week. Things are going to come up that are going to trigger you from your past, from maybe even early childhood or beyond past lives. And it is okay to take a break, unplug, charge yourself up, get in nature, do the things that you know feed you, because this too shall pass, but it's going to be intense. And I'm just going to be holding each and every one of you in just love and compassion and nourishment, that you get what you need and what feels truly aligned to you at this full moon, as things are coming into consciousness and coming into illumination for you. So take good care of yourselves, and